Hello, internet friends, and welcome back, I suppose, to FinalBossTV, your well-in-game rating show most of the time. That it's actually kind of bittersweet. That intro will be going away soon enough. We were trying to get it done before this season of the show started, but it's a lot to handle and do with that. But this is episode number 168, which some of you may know there's not many episodes that have happened in the past, like, half a year plus because of all the beta coverage and all that madness, but now you can start covering Battle for Azeroth, and I wanted to start right here with the World First show. And because one of the last shows I did in Legion, I was sitting down with Method, and today we are, of course, again doing just that. But my name is Adam K, aka Bay. I will be your host this evening, of course, but I would not be sitting in this chair if it wasn't for these lovely nerds right there supporting the show on the credits tier on my Patreon page. If you want to support the show and get shouted out almost every single live show, and of course the live streams, you can go head over right here. There it is, because there's behind the scenes podcasts and more over there on the show's Patreon page, and those of course will be rolling back out once the shows keep going. But enough about me and that and this stuff. Let me go hit all these buttons. Hopefully the show doesn't crash today. There's so much on my computer right now. But I'm sitting down with these guys again. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello there.
Hello.
It's a new baton toss.
Absolute pleasure is to be back on the show.
Well, things have changed, or have they all just stayed the same, Scott?
I mean, things have pretty much stayed the same. I mean, I'm still the friendly boy next door.
What?
I've lost a little bit of weight this year, but other than that, you know, it's things are still the same.
Did I make your lower third wrong? Was it supposed to be friendly boy next door instead of method?
What does it say? Method. What does it say right now on the stream?
Just says method. Or
Just says method.
Or it has your Twitch link. I wasn't told.
No,
Derry didn't tell me.
My Twitch link is still Skull.
Well, I know that, but I didn't know you were the friendly boy next door. I wasn't told. Derry.
Derry, please. You didn't give him the full info.
I didn't know. But joining us again as well, Chris is down there. Hi, Chris.
Hi, I'm bathing in the holy light, apparently, but I'm doing good.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, it's a little bright.
Yeah. Just a tad.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I'm a bright guy, so you know.
The contrast next to you in the region is Roger, who's got the mood lighting on. Hello, sir. Welcome back.
Hello. Good to be back, and let's have some fun tonight.
Did you just wink at? Did you?
The chat. Yeah.
That was okay. That was for them, not for me.
That looked like it was a wink at me, Roger.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, according to Twitch chat, we do have a secret relationship.
Oh,
Dude, can't talk about it. Then it's not secret.
Slim George on screen.
That's it.
As you guys might be aware at this point, you know, looking at me and RogerBrown, Method as a guild has been going through a fitness program as of the start of this year. We've all been working out. We've all been eating healthy. We think that has definitely been one of the contributing factors to our success, most recently in the World First race at G'huun.
Yeah, we actually hired a nutritionist, right? Took some pointers from Blood Legion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we did indeed bring up that old document that was floating around where there was some good nutritional tips from Blood Legion for the raiders. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Chris?
I mean, I guess I missed the memo on that one. I don't know. Yikes.
I was waiting for this long, drawn out dig at Chris, and there it was.
Yeah, it was coming. We all knew it was coming since Ghost started talking, but there we go.
Just what I was waiting. I was just waiting for that. Yep. So do you guys have any, because I have some shout outs and stuff that I could pull up on screen, because we have to, of course, bring up while we're sitting here that if you have not already or want to know as the raid progress, of course, continues onward or up to a certain point or when it's actually happening, of course, check out Method's website, just method.gg, and it's the raid progress spot right here at the top. You have the raid history tab, the raid progress. All that is right here. We just locked in the top 20. Yeah, Star, I just posted that just yesterday. So this is where all the juicy stuff can come out. There's the top 10. But make sure you guys go check out their website. This is where all of it is hosted now. Do you have any other shout-outs that you have to make sure you get out there, Scott?
I mean, if we're talking about like general shout-outs, then of course a massive shout-out to the entire Mythic Guild for the hard work, dedication that they put in this tier to bring Method back, you know, retain our #1 spot right now in World of Warcraft. Big shout-out to all the sponsors and partners that made this whole thing possible. I think you just I just actually paused it right there on the stream where I see MSI, Twitch, Wowhead, Discord, and of course Red Bull.
Yep.
But it seems a bit early for shout-outs. I thought we maybe do this at the end.
No, it's at the beginning of the show now. That's the important stuff. Make sure everyone gets.
There's been a reshuffle here, guys.
Yep.
Okay. Shout out to Roger Brown and Chris for taking time out of their busy schedule for to appear on the show with me tonight. Really appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
No worries. You're welcome.
Anytime, bro.
Just give chat even more fuel right now. Just keep going. You bring up Red Bull right there, and I guess I can bring us up to the first major question I had, and that is with the big obvious elephant in the room that we've talked about on the past shows multiple times before, sitting in these chairs, is that everyone wants to know, and it's been said in different parts, but let's get like a definitive discussion about it, is that you streamed the world first race, everything. Granted, your comms were muted until the kill video, which will be the second section of the show, of course. We'll do the kill video live commentary. So why now? What changed to make this happen? And if you want to field this first, Scott, go for it. And then you guys can go around from your own perceptions of all this. So
yeah, sure. So there's a few things that's changed, I guess. I mean, we've actually talked about streaming raiding, you know, the raid progress for many years, actually, to be honest, the method. Just thought it was always met with quite a lot of opposition, I guess you could say, from the guild itself in the past. This is going back years, but the culture has somewhat shifted, I would say, over the last few years in regards to the fact that almost everyone is streaming or tunes into Twitch at this point. Like streaming your gameplay, Twitch chat, like being a part of that kind of community, is just, you know, it's basically penetrated everyone at this point. It's very far-reaching, and so approaching that topic was obviously much easier this time around. And at the same time, you know, Method, this is actually our 10th world first kill that we achieved on an end boss. So, you know, we've been raiding now as Method the guild for 13 plus years at this point. And I mean, a big part of this as well is the fact that raiding is somewhat a two-horse, you know, race these days. There isn't too much competition at the top, although we did get some good competition this time around with G'huun. Of course, we had the Russians, the North Americans, and the Europeans all fighting for it. So there was actually, you know, good, healthy competition. But in the past, it's somewhat, you know, the last couple of years, it's somewhat always been, you know, Method versus Paragon, Method versus Exorcist. There hasn't been too many other threats out there for us. So one of the elements of it was that we just wanted that increased challenge. Like, you know, we've already achieved world first against our opposition many times before. This is kind of taking it to the next level. Can we achieve world first while also streaming? And at the same time, it's also the fact that this is the first tier of the expansion. We kind of wanted to make this like an experiment, you know, see how it goes. First tiers of an expansion are typically, you know, the shorter tiers. You know, take Emerald Nightmare, for example. So we knew that, you know, this is the best time to try it out. And, you know, if it didn't go well, we'd always have the option afterwards to decide not to stream the next tier and, you know, reclaim that number one spot, so to speak. However, we did have the dream scenario, of course, that we managed to achieve world first and stream it at the same time, which, I mean, was absolutely amazing. And the amount of support and positivity we received from the wide community for doing that was just absolutely insane. And that's a statement that I can echo for basically everyone in Method, I think, especially obviously those that streamed themselves, which was a lot of people in the guild. Looking at the list, I think we had over 15 people in the guild that were streaming the progress at some point or other. So yeah, all in all, it was just a very epic event, and we look forward to doing more of that in the future. And we'll see if, you know, if we can't make it bigger and better next time around, especially with more time to plan. You know, having this as a baseline for the next one.
No, it's wild because as I opened the show and prefaced the year plus that we had talked before, I know it's always been a thing that's been on the table for a little while, but it never actually fully formed. So, Roger, what else do you want to add from that?
Well, I was just thinking from my perspective, last taking every expansion. The previous expansion, Emerald Nightmare, was the first raid. We lost World First. The expansion before that, it was Highmall. We lost World First. So I was like, I mean, if we're gonna lose anyways, the first raid, might as well stream it. So, but I mean, I don't know how we even won, to be honest. But the thing is that it is because it is the first year, and usually we expected it to be a couple of days only. We were like, you know, whatever. Generally speaking, the community doesn't hold these raids, the first raid, in super high regard, because it usually is followed by a bigger raid afterwards. Like Highmall was with Blackrock Foundry, and Emerald Nightmare was with TOV first, but then Nighthold was the proper race. So if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna test it out, might as well do it here. Everyone was already, let's say, saturated with having 2 World Firsts from before. So it was kind of the perfect moment to try it out. New expansion, everyone is super hype about it. Might as well go for it and see how it affects our chances of World First. And I think it definitely did affect us, but not as much as we thought it would. So it wasn't that bad in the end. Yeah.
Chris, do you want to have anything to wrap that up with too?
Well, I think they obviously went over all the major points. Just to echo what Sko said, though, especially, is that I think this is probably, as long as Method's been going, the time where we have the most streamers in the guild, and that's probably a big factor of why it's happening now, because in the past there hasn't been, 90% of the guild streaming, so that's probably one of the larger factors.
It's definitely an interesting switch when a lot of the other top guilds, you could argue, don't really have that many people or personalities that want to put themselves out there into that box. So you have a interesting perspective as a guild as a whole. But did working together with sponsors and the outside extra influence the decision as well? Like you mentioned Red Bull, you guys were even at, well, some of the crew was at the Red Bull sports dome arena little section they set up there for you. So was that part of it? Did that coalesce months beforehand, or was that sort of a sudden
to be honest,
thing?
a lot of the support for the race, for the progress race itself, actually came after we had already decided we were going to do it. It wasn't really the case of we had a lot of partners lined up that were willing to support this motion ahead of time. It was somewhat of an afterthought. Like we knew in advance that Red Bull were interested. We just hadn't finalized exactly what we were going to do there. And then we brought Discord on as well as a partner a little bit later down the line, like after we'd already discussed that we were going to stream this as a guild.
Right. Okay.
Like MSI and Wowhead, they are Method partners, through and through. So they, of course, were happy to get on board as well and support this event.
Do you have, because of this now, any bigger plans for the future tiers to go forward with?
So it's still quite, I guess you could say it's still quite early days at this point, because we kind of just got out the back of the last raid tier. We've only had like about a week to start recovering and get back to normality, get back on the grind, so to speak. But it's like I said, seeing the success of this one, I think there's a lot we can do, especially with the numbers and stuff that we managed to pull in this time around, and how much the community really got involved in it and supported it. I think it would give us a very good opportunity to make something bigger and better next time around. And when I say that, I'm mainly talking about the Method channel itself. The Method channel itself was meant to be, like the place that was very interactive, with actual analysts, casters, content that we could play during any breaks. Basically like the place that you kind of want to be for the main overview of everything that was going on. So like showing multiple different points of view of the raid, and some other cool stuff. So we think, obviously, with more time to plan exactly what we can do there, and get some partners on board and everything else, we think we can make the main method channel a much more epic viewing experience. So there's a lot of work we can do there.
Okay, you want to like funnel it as like that's the show, and then there's the POVs that you can go tune into. Because I even have the stat that I pulled up here that the Esports Observer tweeted out. That was the stat here that, at least in this one, was the spike in viewership on your channel specifically, Scott, just from that 8 to 9 day period to show what happened when you guys got the world first bump. But I would love to see more stats if you guys had them or post them somewhere. And there is a huge write-up on Wowhead.
I was going to say the Wowhead write-up that they did was definitely the most comprehensive public report that's available, at least right now, in terms of what the race achieved in terms of numbers and such.
Oh yeah.
So I would definitely check that out. If someone can link it, like I guess either yourself or one of the mods can link it in the chat. It was a very comprehensive write-up of the reach and exposure and everything. But yeah, the main method channel indeed was meant to be, or is meant to be, you could say, going forward into future races, like the main, the one-stop place, like for the casual observer to check out the race, right? It's the place that's actually gonna have, the voice commentary, the most interactive elements, content that provides better information about each of the players, introduce the players to the audience, stuff like that kind of thing. So we think we can do a lot more there. I'm not saying it wasn't good this time around. It was good, of course, but with more time and more planning, I think we can make it even better. So yeah, basically the method channel is meant to be like the one-stop place, and then of course you have all the other method streamers who are streaming. Who, if you're interested in watching a particular point of view at some point in time, then of course you can go and watch that streamer specifically.
Okay. Yeah, no, when I was digging into this, setting up the show, and I looked through the entire overall post that Perk made for the entire thing, there's way much. I mean, there's even more in here in the links that they go to and all the different sources they pulled around to see where the different metrics lay across all your broadcasters, just the method channel, or just even in yours when it happened. The spikes in viewership are insane, and it definitely shows how high the PvE race interest is to the community, because I'm sure you expected some of this to begin with, but the numbers across the board were tremendous. Were you expecting to be this crazy though, now that you've
the numbers exceeded all of our well, at least they exceeded my expectations. I think from the people I spoke to as well, they've also exceeded their expectations. I remember, I was in London for a while with Haunted. He was one of the people that was casting the race to begin with on the first couple of days. He was saying, the stream could get 100k concurrents during the killing of G'huun. When we actually managed to kill G'huun, I think across all the meta streams combined, we had over 260,000 concurrent viewers. So it was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a huge appetite for it. The thing is, there's a lot of people who, of course, played World of Warcraft in the past. Nearly everyone in the gaming scene has played it at some point. And this is like somewhat of an epic event, because it's the first time that World First Rating has ever been streamed. And there's just been a ton of people across various different games. Like, for example, let's say CS:GO pros, for example, reaching out, congratulating Method, of course, for their World First, and having an interest in seeing something like this again. And we've seen a ton of, like, for example, casters from casters that would typically cast like pro CS:GO or PUBG or various other games. They've also reached out, of course, noting an interest in being involved in the next Method event that takes place.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's basically build it and they will come, mostly. So that totally makes sense. Chris, from your perspective internally in this, what was your reaction just being on the team and being a part of this event for the first time? Because you were on one of our World First shows with Method way back in the day, and now coming full circle to here, what are your thoughts internally now and just being part of the guild in this?
I think it's absolutely crazy. Like Sko said, we all had our own expectations and they were, surpassed by miles. I think one of the most surprising things is actually how many times streaming it was actually beneficial to us in progressing the boss, because we could easily, everyone could just go back and clip on Twitch what happened if they want to see a pull again, or maybe someone in the chat caught something that we didn't necessarily see on that part of the boss. So it's actually like quite a lot of times. I think Roger would definitely agree. It was actually beneficial to us more than we thought it would be.
Yeah, I remember when we were at the Zul progress, and then Gingy is rolling his rogue, and then he didn't have good gear on it, and then he just tells us, wait, summon me. Some of my viewers want to donate some BOEs to me, and then he just goes out and just snacks all the loot from the viewers. So yeah, that was a cool moment. But yeah, I don't like, the thing is, if it doesn't hurt you in terms of, okay, it did, as I said, it did hinder our progress slightly in terms of the other guilds, because I think a lot of the other guilds could see what we're doing, copy the strats, you know, and catch up, or, you know, push forward even ahead of us. So that was the downside. But as I said, I don't think it hindered our personal performance, and it did have some slight gains. I don't think it played like a major role. It was mainly the hype. Yeah, like when you know everyone is watching, you want to get the kill more for everyone. So that definitely was brought back, because after you get so many world firsts, not to brag, yeah, like legit, this was definitely a huge boost in bringing back the excitement of getting a world first. So yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, I will fondly remember this Vaetier as, you know, one of the best memories I've ever had in World of Warcraft from playing the game from the last 13 to 14 years. I mean, normally what happens after we stream get world first is, you know, we normally switch the streams on after we get the kill, and of course everyone comes into the stream and congratulates us and, you know, celebrates the kill with us. But being able to actually live stream the actual kill itself, like for people to actually experience the kill with you, especially because it was somewhat of a journey at that point. We've been streaming live, you know, 15 hours a day for 8 days in a row, and I can tell you that a lot of people had the stream open nearly the entire time. You know, while they're at work or whatever, they had it open on the second monitor, and actually legit felt like the Twitch chat was on that journey with you to try and get that world first. And so being able to get it on stream and actually celebrate that moment with everyone who was watching, it was definitely, I guess you could say it heightened the emotion. And it will definitely remain one of my fondest memories of playing the game for sure.
That's really fantastic. It's almost like the first, because there have been some exhibition matches at BlizzCon in the past and those sort of live raid races that we've had before, but this may be one of the first big milestones in sort of just a viewer, almost esport oriented viewing from, you know, outside, because I was watching different days too. I was there when it actually happened because I had a whole bunch of people that were hitting up my Discord saying they just wiped it like 1.8% or whatever it was. So I was like, oh, okay, let me turn on the method channel real quick. So, and hearing and watching, of course, the chat explode and see you guys unmute and just like that huge wave of relief. So then I guess that you guys all sort of said it in one different way. Was there anything else that caught you off guard from streaming the event? You said you had like the streamer privilege of chat, even like picking up something or noticing something, or in this case, donating gear. But was there something else that you weren't expecting that just kind of popped up from streaming the whole event to either any of you?
I mean,
I just think it's the numbers, yeah. Like as Scott said, it did blow the expectations. I was expecting, honestly, roughly 1/3 of what was there. Maybe like one half, like a half, but nowhere close to what actually was there. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. You want to say something, Scott?
No, it was fine. You took that one away. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what else? Just a lot of memes that were created.
I mean, yeah, 100%. So memes are always talking about memes. Memes are always a huge thing when it comes to World First Race.
Sure.
World First Races, I guess you're very familiar with, I guess. And I mean, that was obviously very funny, being live with the memes, you know, in the Twitch chat and such, all the spam and chat, like, you know, there's certain different spams they come up with. Like there was a very good one in Gingy's chat, you know, it's spam this tuna for good for tuna. Was a thing that came up all over the place. But no. Okay, I just saw someone gifted you a crazy amount of subs in the chat.
Oh,
nice.
what the hell?
Nice.
Yeah. That may happen today. I'll shout out all that at all the love at the end of the show today specifically, but I guess so.
The only other thing I would say was that obviously when you're streaming the World First Race,
yeah,
I guess you need to make sure that your internet connection is very secure.
Oh,
That is another thing. We did have some unfortunate issues to begin with, but they quickly got resolved, and we were able to continue the journey.
Yeah, at the gaming sphere, that obviously comes down to a different point too, because you're not directly in charge of your net, your router, your system, right? You were going through that hall, their offices, so you had to get their crew, and they had to fix stuff for you. And oof, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and because the event was quite, I should say it was a high exposure event, and you know how things go with competitive rating. Yeah, you just need to have a very secure connection.
Definitely one thing to keep in mind, get some Cloudflare VPN maybe going on for the next one. So things on the checklist, I'm sure that Derry has in her playbook. So
I mean, once we got the internet secure, they started attacking us IRL, yeah.
What?
Like breaking down our cars and stuff. I don't know, man. Gotta watch out. Gotta go into a bunker, basically.
I guess those are some of the drawbacks. What is this, like a real story? Are you just making it? What happened?
Yeah, you don't know about Zirips? What?
I mean, I didn't know if you wanted to actually bring that up. The poor guy.
Okay. Well, I think it's in chat, so
yes,
it's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously I'm memeing, but it was quite unfortunate. We had a lot of stuff happening. I mean, mainly was the issue with the internet. Like the 3 guys that were there. But that was only the first couple of days. After that, it was kind of okay. We still had a few disconnects here and there.
Right.
But
it was actually extremely solid once it was fixed. We had no issues for like the last 5 days that we were there when we were doing the progress on the hardest fights, which is great.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like when Tuesday came around and we were seeing that probably we're not killing this boss now, so we had to get a plan for the next day, for Wednesday, and we made like this whole plan around when Zirp's coming back, and then in the end we killed it without him. So like we actually had an 1.5 hour long break, or was it 2 hours, where we did nothing because we cleared up to the boss, we'd done heroic, and then we're just waiting for him, and then in the end we just went without him and killed it. So
yeah, so this is why Narcles, aka Retales, was actually healing at the end, which is what you asked at the start of this interview.
Right.
Was he the best healer on the planet? He typically plays a Ret Paladin, but because Xerox was missing in action, we had Retales step in and heal.
Chris, what'd you touch? There he goes.
What RogerBrown is referring to is that Xerox was obviously, he had some important work that he needed to be done on that Wednesday, and unfortunately when he was traveling home from work, his car also broke down. And so, yeah, unfortunately we had to do Mythic and G'huun without our healing officer in the raid, which was definitely a setback for sure.
It was funny to see how fast those little stories propagated. And you brought up like the Twitch chat memes and the spams, and that even went to Limit as well. They had their own, the whole moon one.
So, I loved that one. That was probably my favorite of the entire. I mean, they took it a little bit further afterwards, but yeah, the first. I
like the extended. I like the extended
version. Yeah.
I have to go that far. So then, to counteract all of that, were there any points during the race with you all streaming that you may have come to a point where you discussed or talked about or thought about turning it all off and just going dark and then just doing it like you used to?
No, that was never really a serious discussion. I mean, we had a system set up in the guild that if a stream was becoming a problem for the one individual player, that there would be potential actions there. But no, at no point did we ever have a serious discussion about switching all the streams off and trying to make some progress without the streams.
Okay.
That would have been very counter, obviously, intuitive to what we were trying to achieve with the whole initiative.
Sounds fair.
As I said, like it didn't affect overall the performance of the guild as much as we thought it potentially could. So we were already like prepared to strike people that were messing up a lot, or that were paying a lot attention to the stream instead of the actual game. But I don't know, maybe people got scared off and they actually were fully serious about it.
Right.
But it worked out in the end. Actually, one thing that came to my mind now is that it's streaming the whole progression. Actually, also is nice because of, as Skull said, it is a journey, and the Twitch chat is with you there. And like all these little moments that happened, normally no one would really see them, right? Like Zirips's car breaking down and having all this discussion. If we didn't stream, no one would even really know about this whole situation. And now it's actually funny how all of the stories that you normally there are inside jokes between the method members are actually kind of widespread. So I think that's a very cool thing. You can talk about things that happened in the progress with Twitch chat afterwards, and they know what's up. You don't have to like paint the whole picture. All right, yeah, when Nugget jumped down on Mithrax, for example, first like 5 seconds before the pull, that was funny as well. Little moments like that. Yeah.
All these little things that you guys will osmose from the event that'll go forward and even evolve beyond this the next time this happens too. I'm sure there'll be even more. Just compound on compounding on that. But that brings me to a follow-up on that whole thing. Do you feel that other guilds that are competing in this realm, because Scott opened with how the past used to be like, a 2-horse race, but it definitely wasn't now, because by the time that it got to the heated part, there was 8 guilds on G'huun with no kill, if that's correct. 7 or 8 guilds that were all right there. Limit was there first, but do you think that because the competition is heating up because of this, that more of those guilds will stream next tier? Because first tiers of an expansion are always kind of like, the real ones, the Nighthold tier is next. So even though I don't know how it's going to work.
Again, that's quite a difficult question to answer, because again, it's quite early days after the sending, so we're kind of just getting back into things. We haven't had too many conversations yet with the other main competing guilds to see what their plans are,
right?
Specifically for the next tier. You mentioned maybe like 7 or 8 guilds there. To be honest, I think obviously the guilds that we were mostly concerned about at the time was, of course, the one guild from North America, Limit, and the one guild from Russia, Exorcist, of course, our old rivals.
Yeah.
So the other ones I don't believe were as close to the kill as we thought those 2 guilds would be. And obviously, especially Limit when they got the extra reset, because the extra gear that you get in a World First race is just absolutely huge in terms of the amount of progress you can make on a boss fight. So when it came to reset day, we were very concerned indeed that Limit would be able to snag the kill before us, especially with hearing the rumors that they had some low percentage tries the previous reset, similar to how Method did. So that was a concern for us. But in regards to the other guilds beyond Exorcist and Limit, we didn't really think they were as close to us in terms of progress. But in regards to whether those 2 guilds will also stream next time around, I think it's too early to suggest anything. That I don't really have that kind of information at this point in time.
That's fine. I guess that almost like you saw the show notes, you just segued me into the thought that I had here, was that the process you guys had, a decision you made the night before that reset, because most of the time from the outside in, when the community is watching, we see that if it's not dead the first reset, then maybe it's tuned properly. So we get that second reset, get that extra re-clear. You guys chose to re-clear, Limit did not, and then you guys still managed to get the world first. And you guys had that tweet, no matter what happens on the reset, you'll still have your streams going. So what was the atmosphere, the surprise like when you got your reset and G'huun was still available for the world first status? Like, what did you...
So I said this to my stream as well, the night that we decided to stop raiding on Tuesday.
Right.
I was half expecting to go back to the apartment, go to sleep, and then wake up. And on your phone, when you can see notifications before actually opening the home screen on an iPhone, for example. I was expecting to wake up and seeing a bunch of people tagging me like, haha, world second, US dominates Europe, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff, all the at method scores, haha, loser kind of stuff. But I was so surprised when I woke up and picked up my phone, quickly scrolled, I didn't see anything. I was like, how is this possible? They haven't killed it. And at that point, it was like, it felt good. I'm not going to lie. I quickly went and spoke to Gingy, Narcles, and Kana, who were staying in the same apartment, and we were just like, "Oh yeah, let's go. This is ours now." Yeah,
that's wild.
I was actually a bit sad that they didn't kill the boss, because for so many years I'm waiting for the moment when NA kills a boss, world first, and then an EU guild kills it within, the 16-hour difference. I just want to see all the posts and the threads and the drama created because of that. And sadly, this wasn't the time to have that. Maybe next time, though. We'll see.
Yeah,
would have been epic, though.
That brings up an interesting counterpoint. I wonder if because of this and the ripple that you guys have made, Blizzard would somehow figure out to actually do synchronous raid unlocks to not have the stupid delay anymore. Because there's really, what is the reason? I don't know. Other than the meme that NA gets to beta test the raid before, because Big Dumb Guild beta tested Fed a Devour for you guys because it was broken. So other than that, I wonder if they'll just let it both regions same time unlock. That would be really nice.
I think that would be great if they did do that, because it was like, I mean, it was so close to actually coming down to, Tuesday or Wednesday, which day comes first in the week, and it would have been really sad to lose simply because they get the reset first. Yeah, I really hope that, like, especially the publicity brought to it by us streaming it, maybe might, nudge Blizzard in the direction of making it a more even race. But we'll have to see. I don't know.
I guess what's interesting is that they obviously did the global release of BFA, right? It released at the same time all around the world, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it would definitely be interesting to see if they wouldn't do something similar for raids, but at the same time, I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Yeah. I didn't want to... Go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, the only thing that doesn't really make too much sense to me, I mean, I get why they are doing it, I guess. It's because they don't want to have, on the same day, a reset for both regions, because then it might, like, crash the servers or something horrible happens. So at least, the NAs are the beta testers for the EU for a lot of things. Like, for example, I don't know, like the world boss that was bugged, and the world quest was there and stuff, just as an example. But it would make a lot more sense because we have, like, what is it, like 16 hours difference. So if NA also got their bosses, like their raid unlocked on Wednesday, then the difference would be like 8 hours. Well, in our favor, okay, but it would make more sense to me. So I don't know, like, if they can't get it perfectly, like everyone gets it at the same time, then at least maybe get them on the same day so that it's a small difference. I don't know. I mean, we'll wait until the thing actually happens, and then the drama will be overwhelming, I guess. Oh.
There's that to take into account. We'll see. And we have to get more confirmation. I don't want to tangent onto this one. This is just like a talking point before I have a real question, is that the next raid, the Siege of Zuldazar, right, the tentative name for it, is a mirror raid as well. So if the Horde if the Horde bosses are in a different order and your end boss is different than the Alliance side of it, how does that play? Is there going to be a world first, Alliance and a world first Horde, like officially? Because Blizzard would have to actually stamp that as an official thing if the raids are different. But that's for you guys to figure out later. I don't want to. That's for something else. What I want to bring up is. Oh, go ahead, Rod. You have something to. I mean.
Well, it's weird. You know how they have the leaderboards? I wonder how, because it's Alliance and Horde. I wonder what boss will actually trigger the, you're in the top 100. It's probably going to be the 6th boss for both.
Right.
And then, because, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see how, like, my guess is that the first 3 bosses of Alliance and Horde are going to be really easy, and everyone is going to be stuck on the last 3 that are shared. But, I mean, when does it actually proc? Because maybe for progression, you actually want to go and kill the other 3 bosses after you've defeated the 6th one. You go to the Alliance side and kill those 3 as well. I don't know, though, but it might be a bit of an anticlimactic ending to a progress raid, because those bosses are probably going to be way easier than the last one, the 6th one. So we'll see.
It's going to be a weird curveball, I think. I mean, we'll know more when it's on the PTR and we can test it. We know how the organization flows. Then you guys can pre-plan for that. But I wanted to bring up, at least in some sense, I have to ask. I always ask you guys this every time you're on the show. So split rating, gear funneling, master loot, all that is essentially gone. So what has become of how you guys gear now and aim in the BFA loot system, which is basically run lots of Mythic Plus? So how would the raid preparation for Uldir be different? How was it different compared to past expansions where now personal loot propagates everything? I don't know who wants this question, because
let's throw it over to Chris.
Okay. Chris?
I think it just put even more emphasis on luck. Whereas before you could kind of, funnel gear into the place you wanted to funnel gear into. And you were, maybe you get unlucky sometimes, but you were generally going to get a couple of tier pieces. You're probably going to get a trinket, a weapon. But I don't know, this was just roll the dice and see what happens. I'm not really sure if we approached it in the right way or not with having, with going with whatever we had 3 or 4 characters. Because in the end, only a few of them did end up getting used. I mean, to be honest, it's still, in my mind, a big question mark on what the best way to handle personal loot is right now, because it's such a mess. And like paired with Titan forging, it's just they really don't help each other out. Personal loot and Titan forging are working together to try and make the game as bad as they can. So yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the solution to the puzzle is of personal loot and Titan forging. It's a bit of a mess.
The side question that came from that is, do you think this loot system makes class stacking even more important then? Because you just bring what you know is the best, hoping that those specs, like the rogues, the warlocks, the hunters, are getting the loot. Because if you bring anything else that gets loot, and it's not numerically in your favor, because you guys have to do the numerical top, a couple of specs or whatever, then you're just hurting yourself.
I don't think it you just need to approach it in a different kind of way. You can't really say, okay, we're gonna have like 10 mages, because I mean we kind of did that. We had a lot of mages prepared, thinking that it's gonna be good for G'huun, but it ended up not being the case at all. And we should have had more warlocks. Now the thing is, though, we kind of underestimated how much time each character is gonna take to be on the similar level with your main. So a lot of people made 4 characters, myself included, and then basically in the end, I don't even know why I made the 4th character. There was no way I'm gonna play it. I had to drop it and leave it behind because I had to focus on my other characters. And even the 3rd character is, you could have barely made it with him, but you had to play like all the time, and not everyone can do that.
Right.
So comparing it to the past where you had to make like 6 or 7 characters and just do the split clears, now you want to have, I would say 3 characters max, and then you just focus on them, because the AP grind is, this time at least, was quite brutal. You had to farm a lot of AP to unlock those traits if you got lucky and got the Azurite pieces from the raid. So yeah, that took a lot of time, and then the Mythic Plus during the Heroic Week, having to farm that as much as you could, and then realizing PvP is better, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
why am I doing M+? I should have just been doing RBGs or something. So I don't know. I think the system will be better in the long run. It's just this first tier, it felt really exhausting getting all those characters up. Like you thought the leveling was the bad part, and then you realize how much world questing you have to do with every character to get the Champion of Azeroth rep up. I mean, they fixed most of that stuff, but we'll see how AP will, it really depends on Blizzard. How are they going to tune the AP for the next raid? If you're going to need to have 35 traits, and you have to play all the time to get the 35 traits, then it's going to be a mess. If they make it super easy, then I think everyone will be happy, and then you can play whatever you want, and 3 characters will be an easy thing to handle. Now, what I wanted to finish up with is, if you have 3 characters, you need to make sure you have a bit of everything. So, for example, we wanted a lot of rogues, we want a lot of warlocks. You don't have to think too much ahead. As long as you keep them all at the same level, you can't really funnel a lot of gear, but they will all be at a good starting point. especially because, and okay, I know it's been talking a long time, but the
Fine.
good thing, I need to say a good thing. Actually, I just remembered it. They actually made the cap of eye level be 395 and not 400 plus. So that is a great thing for the next progression, because it means you're gonna have easily like top gear. Like you don't have to stress over farming M plus for the 420 eye level socket item. So,
Yeah.
that is definitely the highlight of this expansion so far for me. The cap of the Titan forging.
Is Scott just getting into his happy Titan forging
Yeah.
place?
Oh wait, sorry, is Roger finished speaking now?
Yeah, I'm done.
Alright,
No, it was good. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
As again, it's like there's almost show notes sitting in front of you, because the next point I wanted to bring up, and I said, with everything involving numbers and the cadence that Blizzard balances and changes things, even to the point of the Vantis rune and Azerite trait nerfs on the second reset, or the first reset during the race, but second reset during the raid, which may or may not have hindered Limit's choice in extending versus not, and they didn't, and they gambled and they lost. But side note, I didn't open the show with this. The Limit show is next week, so we could talk to them about this kind of stuff.
Ooh.
But the Blizzard does this. They always do this. So how did you guys feel about the class and spec balance during the race, especially after that reset where they just, oh, we're going to do this? And then do you think Mythic G'huun really requires 4 warlocks? That's the
It
real
definitely
question.
doesn't require 4 warlocks, but it makes it a lot easier.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to go for world first, you needed 4 warlocks basically. It just cuts down the downtime of doing the whole danking of the ball significantly. It also eliminates any player errors, because you just go and click the gateway. Like, how hard is that?
Right.
So huge help. And I don't know if any guild will kill it without 4 warlocks until they nerf it a little bit. I don't think so. Yeah. The class balance, I don't know, maybe Sko wants to take that. How
Sure.
did you feel the class balance was, Sko?
I thought we'd pass this on to Chris, giving him a little bit more of a spotlight on the show.
I mean, I don't know how much balancing they really did during progress. It was mostly Azerite trades. I feel like it changed it changed things within the class, but it didn't really change too much in how the classes were comparing to each other. So mostly I think it just maybe annoyed some people if they were really happy they had 3 of the best traits and they were, they were really excited about their new loot, and then the reset comes and suddenly that trait is not very good for them. So in general, I don't think it changed, which classes you wanted to bring to the raid. It just more annoyed individual people with the gear that they had.
Yep. And that's
I think except apart from warlocks, I don't think there was anything like super crazy. It was just warlocks this time around were quite broken, and the bosses also that were hard were quite warlock friendly. So
yeah. Something a question I want to get the other side of it on from Limit, because they chose to extend their lockout because I thought they were right there where you guys re-cleared. And obviously the re-clear and the numericals concealed the deal regardless of Blizzard's tuning change. And obviously the nerf to Vantis was a pretty sudden, if you didn't follow this, Vantis Rune was like 5.4% damage and healing done, and they cut it in half on that Tuesday reset during the race. So, yay, Blizzard things. Yeah. I don't think
To be fair, though, it was ridiculously strong.
Sure.
Yeah. In that first reset.
It just is a direct thing that goes with and complicates the race. So, but then how about this one? I have put here, what was your reaction to the blue post about the tuning issues that they had, and giving accolades to their internal raid team about Mythic Uldir and how they tuned it, and versus what they said about them versus what they said about, they used method as an example. Mainly the complete nonsensical math of the Fetid Devourer, because I know you guys run into these roadblocks now and then, but what was your... Chris, this is your question again. Go for it. What was your guys' reaction to that?
I mean, it's amazing that it's had 3 nerfs to it since its original release, and it's still a bit spicy right now. If you didn't have optimized DPS, people assigned to attack what they should be attacking, it's kind of, I think the first nerf to it, especially when it was out only on the US servers, was something massive like 30% health nerf, which is just crazy that they can release it in that state to begin with, and then be like, oh, actually, it needs a 30% nerf, and then even after that, we're still basically unkillable without Vantus Rune. With actually, it wasn't killable. They had to nerf it again, another 10%, and then you had to use Vantus Rune to kill it. So they said something. Correct me if I'm wrong. That they have their internal testing team do it, and then they kind of add on 10%, 20%, whatever, to make up the the method difference or whatever. But I wonder, are they maybe deluded in how good we are, and they think we're, insane robots that can somehow make our class do an extra 5k DPS? I don't know, because that was some pretty funky tuning on Fetid Devourer though, and it definitely ruins the race. Because I mean, for us, we went there first, so it wasn't too bad for us. But for the guilds to get there first, they're hyped. They're leading the race right now, and then they just hit this roadblock that's completely undoable, and sort of resets the race. So it does puzzle me how they still make these mistakes, but.
Yeah, because Fed was obviously just a DPS check of a boss.
Yeah.
I think they were somewhat scared that, it was going to be like an Emerald Nightmare situation, that they got the numbers completely wrong. Didn't take into account for, the AP levels, the Titan forging, and whatnot that people might have had in Legion. Obviously, split rating and BFA takes it down a notch. But yeah, I think I actually don't know how they managed to tune Fed as bad as they did to begin with. That's a bit strange indeed.
Were the original numbers, I was told this the other day while I was asking my chat about what I should ask you guys on the show, that the original numbers were something like 34,000 DPS per DPS in your raid, which aren't even numbers you can do right now in the game. Which, how do they even come to that conclusion with the method tax or whatever? That's just, what? We do like 16k.
I think they said that they used like some kind of, I don't know, the wrong formula. Maybe they put a wrong number in there. I don't know. Like Fetid Devourer, there's no way that they actually tuned it and thought, okay, this is what it should be.
Sure.
They must have messed up somewhere with the numbers. Like there's absolutely.
It was probably just a mistake, I guess.
Yeah.
That's fair. All that aside, then, I have to ask a couple of the ending questions before we move on to the live kill video commentary segment that many people always ask me to ask, even though I always think it's kind of like fleeting. But I mean, I think Scott already answered this earlier. So this is what you want, chat. All right, this is for you. What is your favorite encounter in Uldir, and adversely, your least favorite? And I'll start with Chris.
I think my favorite has to be G'huun, actually. I had some issues with it in the mind control, bursting boils, whatever. Like that mechanic, I didn't really enjoy it being so random. But apart from that, I kind of like the flow of the fight. It didn't feel too long, and it felt like everyone had to have some personal responsibility. And yeah, it was all around an okay fight. Much better than Xavier's. That's probably why I like it so much, because we were very scared it was going to end up being Xavier's, but it was a real fight in the end. Least favorite has to be probably Mother, because it was so bugged for so long as well. I mean, the amount of tilt when you just die over and over again to a bug that one-shots you out of nowhere is unbelievable. When you're live on stream as well, and everyone, it's the first day of progress, you're hyped, and you're just dying to the bug beams over and over again. So definitely Mother for least favorite.
I will agree with that. Roger, what about you?
I would say my favorite boss was Mithrax for sure. I think it's a very solid boss. The mechanics all kind of make sense. The only issue I had with the fight was visual. The boss was too big and you couldn't really see it around you, which was a problem also on G'huun. But yeah, like overall, Mithrax I think is a great fight and enjoyable to play even in farm. Least favorite, definitely Fetid Devourer. Not because of they had to nerf it and all that, but because it's very RNG based. You go there and you can get the worst spawns of those things on the ground. I legit don't know how they call the food. And then it's like, okay, you could at some point outgear all of that, but you just wipe and pull again and hope that you get lucky and you get the big one in the middle. And then it's way easier. It's like twice as easy to kill those if you get good spawns compared to the worst spawns. So that really annoyed me. When RNG that you can't control basically means an automatic wipe, it's terrible design for me. I remember actually, Scott, do you remember on Heart of Fear, the first boss, when it was really ridiculously overtuned, but then if it had the option of going to the right or the left balcony first, and then if it went on the right balcony, we would just reset the boss. Like it was 50-50, so 50% of the tries they're just gone, and it felt like the same on this one. Yeah,
I actually completely echo Roger Brown's boss choices there. I completely agree. I think Mythrax is the best. I do think G'huun was quite fun as well. I actually overall would rate that Uldir as a pretty good raid tier from start to finish. I do think the bosses have quite a lot of varied mechanics. I do personally have a big FPS issue with Zool, and I think a lot of people do. At the same time, I think the Zool fight wasn't too interesting with the way that it's currently done in Mythic. But no, overall, I think Uldir was a really good raid tier. Very varied, well designed. And I think, to be honest, it's one of the most shining stars when it comes to BFA thus far. Because BFA in general, I'm not too keen about some of the new features they've implemented, like the Warfronts and Island Expeditions. So it's good to see that the raid on one hand has turned out very well.
Yeah, you had the stats. Deep Shades put up your wipe counter. Just have that on screen real quick here too, because you brought up Zool on Mythic. And I know Fetid obviously had a back and forth rigmarole before it, but it always looks weird when there's a gatekeeper boss and the boss after is just trounced. The 133 on Fetid to the 27 on Zool is obviously a telling point to ill parts of a fight. So that's a weird one. And then Mythrax into G'huun, those wipes definitely make sense just for the penultimate ultimate boss.
Yeah, I think on Zool they definitely miscalculated how broken rogues are. That's
yeah,
pretty much. I mean, because the fight lasted what, 3 minutes? I don't know, 3.5. They probably planned it for a 7 to 8 minute fight, which is like a lot of stuff happening in phase 1 instead of just nuke the boss and ignore everything and just that's it. And then you go into phase 2 because you pushed phase 1 so quickly. It becomes way easier because the boss doesn't give you a lot of stacks and whatnot. So definitely missed the ball there with I think that's more not a numbers thing. It's more like the class being a bit broken. Like, I don't know. That's my personal opinion. And
you can.
They could have made it so that it's not possible to blast the boss if you don't first kill the ads. I don't know, something like they give him some damage reduction because it was ridiculous. Like you literally ignored all the ads. Okay, they just passively died with AoE and then just nuke the boss. That shouldn't be possible if they want a proper fight. But yeah.
Yeah,
you can tell that. Sorry. Go on.
No, I said the blood reconstruction debuff, I guess, didn't plan out the way they thought, where you can only ever kill certain things. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
Just like you can tell that it was basically all down to the rogues because we didn't start the raid with 5-6 rogues. Whatever we had I think 1. Actually, to begin with, we even have 0. I don't know. I think 1. We just had Spooky in on the first few pulls, and the fight was getting to about 6 minutes, and the boss was still at we were just about phasing him at 6 minutes, and then once you bring in the the rogue army, bring in the boys, suddenly the boss is dead at 3 minutes 30 or whatever. So. It's very telling if you just look at the amount of time you spend in combat with and without the rogues. It's a completely different fight.
Yeah.
So nice class.
They can't do anything about it now too, because the question that came up in chat is, do you think Zool is even possible without the class stacking of sub rogues? I guess, but it'd be like 8, 9, 10 minute fight.
Yeah, why would you do it? I don't know.
Yeah, there's really no point if you can do it. I think even my guild's gonna run 4 when we get there. So
if anything, if they do change anything to it, they need to nerf the boss overall so that it is still an easy kill, but without the rogues, right? Because I think they've done that sometimes. Like, for example, think of Argus. They made immunities not work on the chains, but then they nerfed the chains, right? So if they do something like that, then they have to somehow make it easier to do the fight normally. Otherwise, a lot of people are gonna cry that, yo, I was killing Mithrax, and now I can't even reach Mithrax because I'm stuck on Zol. But
Right.
you know, yeah.
It's a weird one, but these kind of little hiccups have come up in every World First show that you guys always have to deal with and that we have to figure about. But I'm going to move us along here because we have a Kill Video live commentary segment to do again as well. Mm-hmm. And we're going to use the watch together, so it's all synced up. You guys are already in the watch together. It's already ready to go. But I'm going to jibber jab for a little bit. If you're going to walk away for a few moments, you'll grab a drink or something like that or go to the restroom, then you are free to fly away for a moment while I blab about some stuff. The first things first, of course, I have to make sure that it's still not done completely. However, the Final Boss TV website, the huge rework, that's my face, gosh, it has been updated now. So everything about the show, the stats, what I do here, there's going to be a bigger FAQ eventually, the huge Discord server list that is still this is like the biggest work in progress thing here real quick as well, because I used to have all this on my channel guide, as many of you know, but we have a new web dev putting all this stuff together. We have some awesome art by Sage. So all the different class Discords here, other resources, and our friends are going to be added in here as we keep populating all of these resources. If you want to join different Discords, and I don't know where that link is, I don't know how to join this Discord, they're on my website, as well as all the links to the podcasts and the YouTube merch, all that stuff behind the scenes, of course, are all now right there on the new FinalBoss.tv. And of course, I have to do a mid-show shout out to my credits tier patrons supporting the show. That extra mile, I really appreciate it. It does go a huge, long way. It basically pays for all the art that we keep having on the show, all the different resources we have here. So if you want to support the show in that way and get some behind the scenes podcasts, there's like 40 posts, I think, behind the scenes right now. Yeah, there's 40, and there'll be more as the show goes forward. Of course, you can see the show notes and follow along, do all the different stuff we have there, and go check out those as well. All the different rewards tiers over here on the side. Or if you want to support the show in a more physical manner, the shirt that I'm actually wearing right here, this one, which has gone viral like 2 or 3 times on Twitter. This is Fabelina's art that is for the Battle Azerite Days shirt. It's inspired by the gorillas. You can get it with or without text, customizable on my Designed by Humans shirt, which is linked, of course, down below if you're on Twitch right now, or down below in the video description box as well if you wanted to get some Fabelina art. And that just goes, yeah, empty chairs. That's the wrong scene. That's fine. This is the time where they can take a mid-show break. It's okay. But that's all right there down below. And of course, if you are missing any past episodes, you can go check out my YouTube channel. That's where everything gets archived and the side content gets posted as well. Just made 2 recent videos about, where are the actual recent uploads? Down here. So people will always ask me about how to sim your DPS and some resources right now. So we have the how to sim updated post about Simulation Craft, raid bots, and the in-game add-on Pawn, if you're interested in that. Or, of course, any of the past shows. This is the one you guys are asking about, Josh. Josh was on for Mythic Argus, so you can go check Josh out over there. There's also the other post shows. Everything's archived on my YouTube channel. Go subscribe over there if you'd like. Or, of course, yet again, make sure you guys check out Method also has merch now as well, which apparently a bunch of it sold out. They actually had a tweet the other day that because so much of it sold out, they have to get more of it in. But you can go check out the Method shop just right there at the top of the page for them. And of course, the raiding history and the raid progress is actually this resource right here is something really excellent. If you guys want to go back in time on method.gg on their website, they actually have this huge every expansion categorized listing of all of the world first and the progression races. So as this moves forward, of course, and gets updated, we had, all the stuff in Legion as well. I actually refer to this quite often to fact check. If you haven't seen this, a whole bunch of the articles that came out, different kill videos, different little controversies that may or may not have come during the raid race. So go check that all out. That's in the raid progress, raid histories tab. These resources are really great. on Method's site. So go check that out. And if you want more information, gotta give a shout out to Raider.io real quick, because they have their coverage and their huge, amazing Mythic Plus leaderboard and the different character leaderboards now that have all the different Azerite traits that are being popular and the different specs and roles that are being really populated in that realm. You can go check out Raider.io as another resource for some great end game information. I think the boys are back. Hello, gentlemen. We've returned?
Hello.
Yo, I'm back.
Hi. I accidentally scene changed when you were gone to all three of the empty Method chairs, which is I should have left the stream as like that, because that was mostly what you guys do, right?
I certainly do that a lot on my stream, yeah.
I did it mid-progress, mid-pool. It's really good.
There was a question I had, like a side question that was in there somewhere. I'll get up the watch together here and we can start this. But was it interesting to see what the community reaction was to how much time you guys spent just like between pulls, just talking and working the strat out? Because you weren't just like pull. Everyone got to see the cadence of what your raid is like. Fight it the first time, right?
I asked my stream that, actually. I asked that question to my stream a couple of times. If what they saw in terms of the World Force Progress streaming was what they kind of expected. And to be honest, most people said yes, but indeed that our breaks were a little bit longer than they were expecting.
Oh.
Both, I guess, I'm not sure if that means during the raid itself, because we do sometimes have some long time between pools where we're kind of discussing the strategy on voice comms, of course, which the stream wasn't privy to. Or if they're referring to the fact that, we take a decent amount of time, I guess you could say, to get dinner or in between the raids to, sleep properly. But I think for the most part, people were, it was pretty much what they expected.
Okay. So to preface this, we're going to bring up the live kill video here, and you guys can just pause and start and stop and go wherever they want to and just comment and go through the whole video. You guys were at 373.5 eye level of the raid. So just to put to bed all this nonsense that even still with the new loot system, you guys were still basically at the gear curve. You were not even 15 below. You were only 11 and a half eye levels below the content balancing point. So that was not too bad. It was funny when the nerfs came into Fed a Devour, and I was watching the feeds and whatever when the first kills happen, and then I was checking WoW progresses, and I was like, it's wonderful when like guilds that are saying it's mathematically impossible aren't 370 plus, and then once you guys got 370 plus and the proper numbers came in, it fell over. So, all right, I will start this because I have to start the video and then go full screen here. So we can just follow along and watch with this, and then you guys, again, we are on watch together now, so you can control the timeline and take us away. Bring up any key points.
Oh, what a sick intro, man.
Yeah, the intro itself is definitely very cool. I actually need to get some volume up in here. I muted it.
I wonder how they got who got the shot that close to G'huun without him aggroing? I don't know who got that shot.
Probably a rogue. I don't know.
Yeah,
I believe it was Pleb Central, but I might be mistaken. Our video at the Pleb Central.
Okay.
Yeah, the boy. Wait, how do I make it full screen, by the way?
You touch the cog wheel and then hit the little border boxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so everyone's watching this right now at the same pace, right? So
Yes, we are. Like if I pause it, we can all talk about your See, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause.
Pods game, thanks for the sub, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably another Twitch Prime sub coming in there right now. You can see Sco's subtrain is rolling at 407 at this point.
Yeah. Do you think it's a bit of a detriment to the kill video now because you're taking a lot of footage from your live streams because you couldn't record without all this stuff, or do you just not a big deal?
Well, I mean, we actually tried to make it so that everyone would have their alert play at the same place on the screen. So, I think ideally we were trying to make it top left, because we knew indeed that if someone wanted to have their point of view included in our kill videos, then yeah, it would need to be something that didn't have like alerts or massive sound effects or whatever all over the screen, right?
Right.
So you shouldn't see any sound effects playing from the alerts. It should just be like ideally a top left notification.
Yeah.
The stream's still playing. The video's still playing for me right now. Actually, I see Nogga's point of view.
Yep.
Is that the same case for you guys, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't sure if you're pausing or not. Okay. So what would you like us to do? Would you like us to talk you through the strategy, or what would you like to talk about at this point?
You could really just take it away with whatever you like, because if there's different parts of these fights that you had to like fight through, or how ridiculous phase 1 was, or how many times you had to figure out what you did in phase 1 to do the double pass off with all the different people. I think you can see the group note on the right side of the screen right here. So just whatever you like to talk about.
Hold on, just trying to pause it. But okay, wait, it's actually harder than expected on full screen. It's actually the first time using this program. Sorry.
Who's that handsome man?
Okay, so we paused it now.
Oh gosh, this
just in time.
Yeah, just in time.
Just in time to get.
On, guys,
it's not playing for me. Someone paused it.
Wait, no, it's not playing for me.
Yeah,
No,
but
it's paused.
when I paused it a second ago, it was G'huun's face that I saw on screen.
Yeah, you can pull back the time as well and put it wherever you'd like. You should be able to. Yep. I think in full screen it's kind of weird.
Full screen, unfortunately.
Yeah, you might have to minimize to go to the regular viewer, because I have it full screened on right now for the viewers. So, but it should be able to work. Because I have to.
Okay, who wants to control the video then? Roger, you want to control it?
So I have to go.
I mean, okay, sure. All right, so if I go, wait, when is the fight starting?
Moved some weird position
Hold on.
on the right side.
There you go.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, phase 1 and phase 2, in like a lesser degree, is mainly just stay alive and just dunk the balls. Because once you dunk 3 balls, it's over, right? Doesn't matter.
Right.
So you'll see what we mainly had going on here was we didn't really assign specific things too much, but people naturally started doing the same thing. So, for example, you see the big mob is dragged next to 2 of the tentacles here.
Yep.
So people naturally started just because you mainly need to interrupt their cast. So just organically, people knew that, oh, the first interrupt on this eye is this guy, the second interrupt is this guy, and so on and so forth. And people just did the same thing over and over again until we got something going. And if an ad was like casting and no one was interrupting, then we tried to fix that, but while keeping the rest the same. So it was basically this. It looks very messy, but it's, again, just go up, dunk the balls, and meanwhile just stay alive downstairs, interrupt the ads and kill the small ads. The big ads, they don't matter because it's pointless to kill them. They just die from the beam. So playing the video here, obviously you want to get this buff from the Dark Young, so everyone gathers up there. And yeah, you just kill the eyes as fast as possible, because that's the only thing that can really kill you, right?
Scout gateway on your side, so I'm not on the right side.
Yeah, so you can basically see me position the Dark Young here to the next spot that the eyes are going to spawn, so that it's ready to cast Dark Bargain on the next set of ads. I can actually see that it's slightly opposition here in the kill video. That's just great. So it only hits one of the 2 eyes. But the plan there was to hit them both. And I mean, it's about the good intentions, guys. And now we swapped to Naga's point of view. And
you see he stands as well, the ads.
The terrors.
Yeah, the terrors can be stunned, can be interrupted. So if you see something casting for too long, then someone is not doing what they should do. But yeah, once you've dunked 3 times the balls, then the phase is over, which is like in 20 seconds from now max. It's gonna happen.
I guess you're probably gonna see one of the dunks taking place on this kill video. I would assume.
In phase 2, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Now just to make sure
so
that
here just now, yeah. Wait, trying to pause. Okay, there we go. What? It's not pausing.
It's hard to pause on full screen, dude. That's the problem.
I paused it for you. Did.
Oh
Yeah,
Jesus. Okay, there we go. So once the beam is down, everything dies except for the little G'huunis, right? The G'huunis, they don't get stunned, they don't get damaged. Everything else just dies from the beam. They also are stunned permanently, so you ignore them. So we all grouped up here, so because all of these small G'huunis, they fixate on someone. So you want to group up, pop the monk circles. I think one of them was slightly late, so people panicked. But yeah, you don't want to get eaten by a G'huuni here, because then you spawn 2 new ones, right? Like, I don't know how much you want to go into the mechanics of the fight.
I just think it's
I'm
funny.
Sure, I'm sure everyone in chat knows this because they're all 8 out of 8 Mythic,
of course,
right?
They're 9 out of 8, Roger.
9 out of 8. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think what's
So,
funny
yeah.
is that the propagation of the naming convention of those little squiggly ads, because of Mythic Plus, now they're just called G'huunies everywhere. Yeah.
I think at the start we were calling them Goonies, but then it just
Yeah.
went to G'huunies because it's more funny.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, you have a lot of time here to finish them up. It's not really a hard phase, right? So you just need to be not too slow and don't waste the comment rest. That's literally phase 1. Just interrupt, stun, finish off the G'huunies in the end, and be ready to DPS the boss. So here, yeah. No, go ahead.
It got to a point where, like Roger was saying, you don't want to waste the battle res in phase 1. We were saying like we would rather someone just died than waste a healing tonic or a health stone in phase 1 and not have it for the last phase. So it was basically all about getting through phase 1 without using, anything, because it should be a very trivial phase. People were, we joked about it, but it was real. I'd rather just die and we wipe the boss than use a healing tonic here and then, not have it later on in the fight.
I mean, as I thought, my thoughts on this phase, I must say that I mean, it's nice that they're trying something different. Like the boss is not available at the start for phase 1, but I would probably rather have the boss in like a DPS check in phase 1, something to like keep me more engaged. This was okay, but it really, you could feel like it's kind of pointless whatever you do because it's super easy as long as someone doesn't massively screw up, right?
Right.
So it didn't feel like an epic phase 1 like a lot of other bosses and bosses do. I don't know if you felt the same, Chris and Sko, but after the first like 50 times we did it, I was like, okay. We were actually making fun of who is the fastest dunking the balls because we had like a timer going on. That was literally the only excitement in that phase.
I want to confirm, you have to do the reorigination engine power-up sequence on both sides in tandem, though, correct? So you can't really like race the other side because you have to do it. Yeah, I guess you can get there and wait, right? Are you talking about the teams of 2?
Yeah, it was the teams of 2.
Okay, they were all racing. Interesting.
And then we had, even on the big wigs, we had it announcing, I think, saying how long it took them. So it would come up saying 12.5 seconds or whatever, and then the team would be, going, yes, on TS, like we beat our personal best or whatever.
That's fun.
You can see it. You can see it on the right side of your screen actually right now where we paused. The first group was Curiel and Deep Sades on one side, and Scribe and Jesuit on the other. If you see it on the notes that we have, it's kind of small, but yeah. So yeah, we saw how much time that group did, and then we compared it with Group 2, and then Group 3, etc., etc. So yeah, that was a little bit of fun in phase 1. But other than that, I wouldn't say it was a super exciting phase. I don't know if anyone wants to add anything. We can move to phase 2.
I mean, I guess it was a good phase for getting used to you handling the orb, right? But when you do 200 plus pulls on the fight, then yeah, at that point you're quite experienced with what's going on.
I can imagine there was a lot of just staring at the screen, just waiting for the first minute and a half to just go by. You're just going through the motions.
Yes, but at the same time, I think at least the groups that were involved with putting the orb in were relatively, they were relatively engaged with the phase.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There was a lot of movement going around, like basically because obviously the ads spawn at different parts of the room, so you are moving around a lot, which increases that sense of engagement, I think, on encounters in World of Warcraft.
It's an interesting one too. I wanted to make the parallel because we talked about this when we were doing Argus. Argus actually had a mechanic that you wanted and used death to either reset a phase or the whole raid would wipe, and you would like. You finagled that the whole raid resing on one res charge, that kind of stuff. Whereas with G'huun, you guys were talking about how you don't want to use anything to stay alive in the first phase. It's just only on just you, and you want to save healing potion and health stones for the later phase. Very, very different change of a resource of death in this fight.
Yeah, and I think a couple of funny things, I guess, in this phase, which did keep it a bit interesting, is right here when we're all grouped up, we had a couple of times someone get hit by a ball, right? I don't know if you caught that on stream sometimes, but yeah. And then it becomes a bit of a fiesta, I'm not gonna lie, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, what's the balls? What's the balls? And there's just too many balls, right? To dodge, and then it's just over. So that was one thing, and the other one was a lot of times people would get eaten at this part of the fight from the G'huunis because they were like, especially melee, were trying to DPS, and then the G'huuni would just eat them, and then it was a bit of a moment on the voice comms like, oh come on, bro, you know.
They have the same like little channel time they do for Mythic Plus, right? That like that GCD cast time, and they eat you.
Losing DPS because I don't. Wait, what? The GCD?
Well,
What?
like it's a cast time, the 1.5-second cast time, where they pick a target and they choose, and they bite into you. Is that the same thing that they do in Mythic Plus, right?
I don't think so.
I actually think it's quicker. I think they
Oh, really?
once they get to you, they just jump in you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Little more.
I think maybe there is a cast time, but it's too late for you to do anything. I don't think you can do like a stun them or something. I think once they've reached you, you're getting eaten.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So here is the part where DPSers could get a bit higher on the meter by DPSing the boss.
Okay.
Right? Because the boss is healing 5% per second.
Right.
Okay. But I mean, obviously, you can blast the DPS and it will be there, but it doesn't really affect the outcome.
Until the red health zone buff goes away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, people went to set up and all that.
Of course.
Um,
Building resources, Roger. You're building resources.
Exactly.
Building up wasting those trinket procs, yeah. That's exactly it.
I actually didn't have a trinket
Scott's
proc.
not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a proc trinket. Yeah, just a Darkman deck. Anyways, so here I think this is the most interesting, I guess, phase. A lot of stuff needs to go properly. The main thing you will see are the waves, which you just saw. Like there's one right at the start. I'm trying to catch it.
Yeah, because you already have one stack of the blood. It happened
Oh,
immediately.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So trying to get the exact moment. Right. So this wave, this is basically the most important mechanic in this fight. If you get hit next to other people, you destroy your keyboard.
I just dropped something.
The hell? But yeah, you wanna spread out for this, but the problem is there's other mechanics happening, and this could overlap with them, and then it's a big fiesta because you get 2 stacks instead of 1. You knock each other away. It's really bad, and especially in phase 3 because this stays in phase 3. So we didn't really have a lot of people probably think we had specific assignments where we stand exactly in this phase, but it was kind of general idea. Like again, organically it happened because there's a lot of other movement happening in this phase. So you just go where you kind of go every time and then work around from there.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Like in this phase, you couldn't really outstrat the mechanics. You just had to play it, and people get used to it. And then once they get used to it, you just naturally progress through the fight with less and less mistakes, fewer mistakes. Yeah. I don't know actually how the tanking was here, Esco. I've actually never understood how many stacks you went up to and stuff. I'm actually curious.
Yeah, so the boss gains a stack on every melee swing, which increases the damage of the next one. So we typically just boss every 3 stacks. We used like a sound effect to play to make sure we didn't miss that kind of swap over. Sometimes, of course, the tanks are one of the groups that needs to go up and actually dunk the orb during phase 2. So there is an element in this fight where one tank has to tank the boss for a prolonged period of time and an ad at the same time. That happens for both tanks at different occasions during the fight. So that's obviously, you know, a high damage moment where you want to be using your cooldown.
Yeah.
How many stacks did it actually go up to there? Did it go
It
up to
varied
like
a lot. Depends how
6,
fast,
7?
obviously, we were with the orbs, right? Like, it could go up as high as, let's maybe like 12, 13, I guess.
Oof, really?
Yeah, it was very high at points.
Yeah.
So then
That's
we
the thing.
Right, stagger.
Because of the balls and stuff, yes, Monk's Law. Because of the balls, every single person had to go up, right? Because you get a debuff. So again, you will see the groups on the top right. You see there's 5 groups, 4 people in each group. That's 20 people. So it's everyone had to go up, which complicated a lot of things. Which is why, by the way, we were planning a lot of mages, because from our testing in Heroic, we figured that mages can solo it. So we were like, oh, we just put the mages and that will be a huge bonus to our group. But in the end, it didn't work out, because once you get the ball, you're actually fully pacified. You cannot use any abilities. You can just press W, maybe use a pot, like a speed pot. That's it. Yeah, I guess we'll see the ball dancing soon, hopefully. Or did we see it already?
Nope.
If I missed it. No, okay, so it's coming up.
So you only have 5 groups. Phase 1 takes how many dunks, and then each
3.
time... Okay, it's 3.
Every time it's 3 balls for the beam to come. Yeah. So you
the
do
reason
3
we have
times.
5 groups is to manage the debuff that you get when you dunk the orb. You get a 3-minute debuff, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
3
It
minutes.
stops you from then dunking it again.
So once the 5th group was done, then it's group 1 again, right?
Yeah.
And we do a total of 9 dunks. So basically every group, yeah, because you do 3 times in phase 1 and then 3 times 2 in phase 2.
Right.
So every group goes twice except for group 5. So there's quite a bit of dunking going on. It might seem like, oh, because we don't really show it on the video a lot, but a lot of people are up there all the time. Now, apart from that, the other like new mechanic, I guess you can say, is the little bursting soils. I think they're called the red flowers. I call them.
Bursting borrows,
yeah. You see one of them right there on the top,
Yep.
like behind G'huun. One on the right, and then there's one more somewhere. Who knows? Got to do a
underneath
360. Oh, there it is. Oh, did you catch it? Hold on.
I'm circling them with my mouse on screen, yeah.
Hold on. Oh my god, it's too fast. It's too fast. Wait, are you...
Yeah, we can
I
see
don't know
this soak yellow. Yep, you can see the...
Right. Oh, there you go. Oh, you can actually see it. It's not like 100% synced. Alright. So... Wait, that's weird.
Anyway, what RogerBrown's saying is that
yeah.
these blood balls could spawn almost anywhere in the room. And to be honest, to begin with, until Blizzard changed it, they could also spawn under the boss model, which basically meant they were invisible. And we had this issue, of course, where we're trying to locate and assign these blood balls to people as soon as possible. And if you're not able to locate them quickly, because they can spawn so far away from each other, you know, in locations where they can sometimes be almost on top of each other, then yeah, it becomes a big problem.
So soaking these, though, is what? This is the extra mythic mechanic next to the fact that G'huunies spawn when you kill ads.
Yeah.
But what do these do?
Correct. So you need to soak these. You get a stack debuff that lasts 30 seconds. If you soak Blood Boil while you already have that debuff, then you get mind controlled and you must be killed. So
if you
have
get 2
to
stacks,
allocate.
basically.
Yeah, basically, you get 2 stacks, you get mind controlled. So you have to obviously allocate who's soaking these blood balls at different points in the fight, so that you avoid anyone getting mind controlled.
Right.
And so it's very problematic when 2 are spawning quite close to one another, because then obviously to avoid getting mind controlled, the player needs to be standing, you know, almost on top of the blood boil to avoid, you know, it spraying on someone else. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it goes on the 2 closest people that are next to it when it explodes. I don't know if you mentioned it.
Oh,
and
it's 2 people. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's 2 people that we had like set up some weak auras that they get notified when it's their turn to soak. Then we would mark those 3 spawns with the different world marker, like yellow. And you see here exactly it says soak yellow. You go there, you soak it. That's it. But yeah, they could spawn literally everywhere. Sometimes all 3 of them would spawn like 5 yards next to each other in the back right corner of the room, and it's like everyone has to run there, I guess, because it's just it really frustrated me, at least, this mechanic.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did fix at least that it can't spawn under the boss, because the boss is so big you actually couldn't see at all. the thing was just invisible. You had to move the boss to see it. It was really bad at the start. Yeah, that's the mythic mechanic. It's also there in phase 3. In phase 3, it's actually a bit easier. In phase 2, we had the most problems with it because 4 people are constantly upstairs, and that means that there's 4 less soakers, right? So we had to set it up so that those people are not considered in the soaking rotation, and it was a pain to get through all the assignments. So you have assignments for the upstairs and the downstairs, and you have to keep in mind that you need to reset your stacks at the Blood Fist, which is the last mechanic of this phase. So I'm resuming the video.
Definitely not a Xavius fight.
Yeah, definitely not a Xavius. So here, I think. Wait, are we dunking here? Are we stunning the? Yeah, here we go. So here you stun him. The boss does nothing. The adds do nothing. These big adds come from the Blood Fist. Is similar to Heroic. I guess I don't need to explain it too much. But they also spawn G'huunis. So there you go. The G'huunis again. They don't die from the beam. So we tried to push them, knock them as much as we could inside the boss, so we can cleave off of there. Here we see Narcolis going up already, the best healer in the world, because as soon as that phase is over,
wait,
the
go back a
next
second.
orb spawns. Oh,
Go back a second. I just saw him take both his hands off his keyboard.
wait, that can't be right.
I mean, was he auto walking up?
Keep watching.
Yeah,
When he walks up, he just pressed like all walk and just like the keyboard. Wait. Check this out.
Oh!
Did you not know this? Is this new
coming
for
out.
you?
Wait a second.
Watch his hands.
Wait, that's both hands. Wait, what?
He just like saws his t-shirt and then he's like back to the game.
Wait, I think maybe that clip in between, yeah. Maybe I think he asked Pleb to like hide that part with the little clip in between, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yikes.
Yeah, he's in
Or
chat.
maybe
He's
he's
defending
just-
himself. I auto run. Yeah.
He's just that good, yeah. He doesn't need to use his hands. But yeah, so here you'll see the dunking, I guess. So and as you saw, as soon as the beam is over, we had a timer when the new one spawns, so people are there instantly.
Yeah.
I'm
I see
actually
that.
dunking at the same time. Like I'm opposite side. Me and Red Tulis were in the same group. So here you see you pick up the orb, click the first gateway, then move like a little bit, throw the ball, and then the next guy you can see here on the left, there's another gateway that takes you all the way to the end, right? So that trivializes the whole thing. There's also a mythic mechanic, which I think a lot of people don't even know about. Wait, let me go slightly behind. Okay, so here, for example, I don't know if it changed for you because earlier it wasn't like perfectly in sync, got me a bit confused. But the purple things, do you see them? Like in between the boils, you see some purple moving thing?
Yeah, right over here. Oh, I could see it for a moment. Yeah, on the side of the screen, it came from the left side. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much this plays. Yeah, you can see it on the left. Anyways, these things, it didn't really make an impact. I don't know why they added this, but basically it roots you if they hit you.
Oh.
It doesn't really matter because we stick to the right side and they never go out like to the outside.
Of course.
Either far right or far left. So I don't know. I think a lot of people didn't even know this was going on that were watching the stream. But yeah, that's basically the fight. I mean, you can keep playing it. It's a repeat now. Like we did the first beam,
Yep.
and now it's a rinse and repeat. The boss will go to 20% after the second beam, and we go into phase 3. Oh, here we see the dunk again. So we go.
Well, it's
Similar
just
thing.
Just the pass off. I don't know if we got an actual full dunk yet. Yeah, there's
Right.
the
I don't know
pass.
if
We could see the little purple orbs that time.
oh there's the boy.
This is
Oh, yeah,
something cool. You can see that every class has different ways of getting up to that ramp fast. You're going to see Logok here using Wild Charge to get up to Totem from one of the monks.
Some very
So,
smart
like,
person came up with
like I
that
said, a
idea.
lot of different classes have different ways of getting up fast to the ledge to collect the orb. For example, monks can obviously use Transcendence. But we had a lot of people assigned that had these little tricks they could use.
Yeah, that's really neat.
We might skip the night once.
So this obviously allows us to maximize DPS.
This would be big right now. This is bad. I have 3 stacks.
Yeah, but
Right, and here actually, you see that we stunned the ad. This is a crucial moment that a lot of people don't know. The timers of the boss were not like fully accurate. So they sometimes he would delay certain ability. So here at the very end of phase 2, we got the Blood Fist, so everyone cleared their stacks, and we got the big ad, but we did not get the Bursting Boils during this, which happened most of the tries actually. So, or like at least there was some kind of overlap. So here we could actually clear all of the stacks from the raid. I think, is there anyone that has stacks you can see in the raid frames? I don't think so, at least, which is big for the last phase. So this was a like
debuff,
you can even
yeah.
hear Scribe saying this will be big if we get it right now, and then we get the stun,
This is bad. I have
and it's like a perfect transition basically. Everyone is full HP, no debuffs.
Well, there's
wow.
you can see Noga, me, and I think Logo have stacks because we're dunking the last orb, right? So we
Yeah.
Right.
2-2.
So there's no
it's
way
just
for
those
you.
4 people, yeah.
But normally you would have some people soaking the Bursting Boils and most likely not being able to reset there. Like this was one of our cleanest transitions ever. It was quite good. So here we have the intermission. I mean, Chris, you take it away, bro. The intermission.
So at this point, you can't damage the boss, but you just want to live. So people were using bandages, just focusing on staying alive right now for this point. It was actually kind of nice for bandages to be relevant. But yeah, it's just a little bit of time where you need to just stay alive. It's like Black Hand, where it rocks are falling down on your position and like you need to move around and keep moving.
Yeah.
But it's pretty, I mean, it's not really that important. You just need to stay alive, use everything to stay alive, and then it's calm once you actually enter the last phase. You can take it, you know, you can relax for a second. No one's really dying from a healer point of view at that point.
Well, saying that, I just saw RogerBrown and Mio's drop to a very low HP there, and we'd Rallying Cry active as well, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, that's the intermission, yeah? The intermission is scary. And then once the intermission ends and the last rock falls, there's a, you know, there's a moment of, okay, we've made it past that point. Everyone survived.
Yeah.
And
So
just
the
take
rocks
a-
actually,
take a breath.
the rocks
The rocks
actually hurt
hurt a
in
lot.
Mythic.
Yeah.
In Heroic,
A
we do
lot.
nothing. So.
So the cool thing though is that, oh my god, I just pressed, I thought it would go back 5 seconds.
There you go.
It went all the way to the end. Okay, so the thing is, so the first, there's 3 rocks that fall. The first one spawns on players, so we spawned it right here. I'm hoping it's synced up with you.
Yeah.
Then you could either click the gateway here or just run. So here, some people click the gateway, some people just run. You wait for the second one to spawn, which also spawns on players. There we have it. And now the third one, we figured it spawns always in the middle. So after this second one spawned, you just go away from it, and then you kind of want to get in position to DPS the boss. It doesn't matter where you bait it, right? So here's where we bandage usually, and we get into the phase. Now, for this last phase, why I'm saying that getting position is because DPS is so important, and we had assignments, actually, in this phase we did, where people would stand. So we made like a small picture, and we had 5 groups, like one south, one northeast, northwest, and southeast, southwest, kind of, with one healer in each group. And you needed to have a good spread around the boss, because as you'll see, you do still need to soak the Bursting Boils. So you can't have like one corner where there's nobody.
Right.
Otherwise, you can't soak them properly.
Dancing and spreading.
Yeah, in this phase, I mean, it's similar to Heroic, right? Like, there's nothing really different than Heroic. The waves come faster, and there is Bursting Boils. That's pretty much it. You still have the fear. You need to turn around. Yeah, apart from soaking the Bursting Boils and being careful not to give each other stacks, because at some point it just becomes unhealable.
Right.
That's it, yeah. Oh, and one person every like 30 seconds gets the balls, which I didn't understand. Like, did you guys think like, wow, this kind of makes sense? Like, because it didn't make any sense to me.
It felt a bit random, to be honest.
Like, you see here on the left, someone just pooped a little bit. That's it. I don't know.
It's actually
In
a
phase
weird
1
mechanic too. You can put your face, if you actually stand in a wall, it only spawns 2 orbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little things like that are always like,
Oh, actually, now that you mentioned the wall, something cool that I don't know if I need to go back because it's not on my side. Okay, here. Oh, damn. Wait, turn around, Noga.
the boss is over
Nah.
there, though. He's not going to turn around.
Damn. Okay, here, you see the lightning on the top? Like at middle top, you see like a little lightning spark?
Yeah, that's from the origination engine or whatever, yeah.
Right, so we actually didn't... We had the first couple of tries in this phase.
Oh,
Because
no.
you want to spread out,
Yeah.
and there were people that were standing in that, and it actually damages you quite a bit if you stand next to it.
Right.
I don't know why it's there, but I think Scribe actually died to it a couple of times, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so that's another like kind of random thing in this phase.
Yeah, it's in heroic as well. It just doesn't do enough damage. It's just like the origination engine is just online, so it's just yeah. You see the lightning right there, yeah. Can't get too close.
Yeah, it's like almost hitting him here.
I think it's to deter you from putting your face into a wall with the debuff and not spawning as many orbs, but.
Mm-hmm. And here you see the two on the left. There's two bursting boils, and they both spawned on south. And south just before had another one. So here we just we would just call out, "Yo, help south," and then a couple of people just came around and helped. So in this phase, it's basically you play the game. You kind of, if you know what's coming up, you just are ready for it, and that's it. There's no like secret anything. Generally, the boss didn't require too much of like sick strats. Right? It was just assigning where people stand, what they soak, and then just play the game. And especially in phase 3, you just play the game, don't die, and DPS, max DPS. That's the gist of it.
Yeah, and G'huun is one of those bosses that actually has a ton of HP, because obviously the weakened phases let you get through that HP in the phase 2.
Yeah.
And so we had this issue where, well, not an issue, but we had this moment. The boss is obviously very low percentage-wise, where people started, screaming it's a kill, blah blah. But then of course the boss still has a ton of HP, like actual HP. So yeah, we had to stay focused through all that excitement and hype as well, which was fun.
It's this moment right here, yeah. Like everyone started yelling already, and then look how long it actually takes.
Yeah, like the thing is as well, we were 4 of our players were playing from the Red Bull Gaming Sphere, and people all around about us were, already screaming, like hyping, like jumping up and down. But the boss still had like, the last 1% of his HP, and I was just trying to stay as focused as possible. And then, yeah, finally brought him down.
Yeah. And it was funny actually, because in the end we had, I think, 2 combat dresses ready. So people started yelling, "Res! Kill! Res! Kill!"
Yeah.
I don't think anyone got rest. I think Josh.
No one got rest.
Well,
I think Noga was yelling for a res, but he didn't go.
Because you have 2 warlock reses, and those are both cast times, so no one did it. I like this edit. This is cool. Who edits your videos? Give a shout out, because I like that they captured all of your cameras from the stream team.
We have a few video editors, mainly Skyline and Pleb Central, however. So shout out to the video editing team.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Because yeah, for sure, I like this video. They did a very cool introduction for the Mythrax Mythic video as well on the Meta channel. If you want to check, if anyone wants to check that out another time.
Yeah, I like the synced reactions are really neat. That was cool to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys had, because when I tuned in a wipe before this is when you guys had like the 1.8% wipe, and I was like 1.8%. That's still a lot of HP, I'm sure.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I'm saying in regards to everyone was cheering and hyping already, thinking the boss was dead at that point. But really, it's actually a ton of actual HP you still need to go through.
Yep.
Which is why, as well, like the low percentage tries that people were reporting, of course, was a little bit like, we had like 4% try. That's still quite a far away from killing the actual boss, right?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks it was so close. Which maybe that's one of the mistakes that obviously Limit made. Is that they thought they were maybe a little bit closer than they actually were in reality, potentially.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome though. Well, that always brings you back to like eye level discussion, because that's what we're talking about, and why I'm bumping up next week's show to sit down with the Limit guys and talk to them about their perception of this and their perspective and their side and their back and forth. Is that you guys, I brought up with the eye level thing. You guys had 373.5, and let me double check limits eye level when they got G'huun. It was 371.9. It's actually quite a bit of numbers difference. That's actually pretty incredible. So, right, they had people always compare and contrast the different group compositions because they had 5 warlocks and 3 arms warriors. Like they had different comps than you guys did, but that'll be fun to compare and contrast for sure.
I think they definitely had a way better comp throughout the raid as well, starting with the mass warlocks, but also the warriors executing. Were pretty good for the last phase. I don't know how good it is to have so many in the previous phases, but I mean, definitely the last phase is the hardest. So they definitely had a really good comp, and I think our eye levels. I don't know how it tracks the average eye level. I don't know if it got Retulis's healing gear because that was significantly lower.
Oh, sure. I don't know. Let me see.
Yeah, but if Zips was in as well, like the boss would probably be. It was definitely like a gear thing. So if Limit had a couple more extra eye levels, it just makes everything so simple, right?
Like, put it this way, we knew on Wednesday that this was going to die on that day. It wasn't really a case of that we weren't going to be able to kill it. We had all the mechanics down. It was simply just the extra gear was going to make the difference. I mean, I personally on my monk, I went up 9 item levels from Tuesday to Wednesday, so it was huge.
Yeah, I went up 1 eye level. So
same.
Really good.
At least the tanks are getting good. It's okay.
Honestly, I feel the difference between playing G'huun on Tuesday night and then playing it on Wednesday. It felt night and day for me personally.
It's the Vantus as well, yeah.
Yeah, the Vantus as well came into account. Like Tuesday, it felt like a struggle of survival every single pull we did.
Yeah,
like you actually had to be awake and play. Wednesday, it felt like a farm boss, honestly, with the Vantus Ruin and the extra gear from the reset. Like gear is just it's just such a huge thing when it comes to progress rating. So
that's what I always try to.
Keep in mind that we had a Retulis, which I'm sure Chris has a couple of words for that situation with the healing. But we had Retulis switch to healer, which he didn't heal that boss at all, and we brought in a different DPSer to cover the 20th spot, which was the easiest world first for him ever, right? He just came in 10 pulls, boom, world first. Didn't progress anything, like coming in for the loots,
Terrible.
Boys swag. But yeah, so that's what I mean, though. It was a bit inconsistent when we got back there, but if we had our proper setup from Tuesday, you would really see the difference instantly. Like, it wouldn't even have taken us, I think, 10. How many tries did it take us on Wednesday? Like, probably would have died within 2-3 pulls.
Yeah.
So you can see how much gear affects that boss.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. I don't know if you saw anything in chat that you want to bring up here real quick, because we're definitely at time. So if chat has any questions that we can toss over to the Method guys real quick, if you had any curiosities of anything in particular. Confirmed Method carried a person to world first. Ooh. Ooh.
I mean, no, it wasn't carried. Yeah, it's just that.
Yeah.
When you get into a fight that you haven't played before, you're obviously not gonna do as good as a player who's done 250 pulls on it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a jokey question about shamans, but you didn't have anyone actually feared during, because shamans can obviously be that safety net because of Tremor Totem, but you didn't have any shaman, so no one actually got feared, right? No one gets the
not on the
hammer.
kill, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you got feared, you probably wouldn't be a kill, I guess. But we did have a few people getting feared. In the early tries, at least. It was also the case that we had a weak aura for the cast, but it actually the cast was, let's say, a bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
So if you try to min-max and you're like, can I squeeze this GCD in? And then do a quick 180, and then some people got feared with that. So in the end, I think everyone was playing it super safe. Like, I was turning and staying turned for like a good 2 seconds and then turning back because I didn't want to get feared.
Especially with the extra gear, you didn't need to max it so much. You just better just to not, get fit.
That's actually a pretty good question right there. I'm sifting through what you guys are putting through here because I can only ask certain ones, I suppose. Do you have any like an MVP shout out to someone in Method that you want to give some high praise to this tier? Because I know Scott opened up with shutting out the whole guild, but you never know.
I mean, a big shout out, of course, to everyone working behind the scenes on the event itself, right? Like making sure everything was able to be pulled off. It was something that we did quite short notice, to be honest. I mean, although we had obviously preliminary discussions about doing this from a long, long time, even as far back as years ago, and obviously in more recent months, getting the actual event together and organizing everything, and getting the sign off for everything, it kind of was a case of squeezing everything into like the last couple of weeks before the actual tier. And of course, that was a very busy time with BFA launch, the heroic grades and whatnot. So a big shout out to the Met staff that were working behind the scenes on getting this event off the ground. Big shout out, of course, to Zerps as well from the guild, one of the officers who was very involved in managing things from the guild side on that front. And I mean, I mentioned at the start of this podcast as well that just a big shout out to the guild itself, all our partners that were on board with this. And yeah, it was just such an epic event that I was thrilled to be a part of, and want to thank the community for supporting it the way that they did and being so positive about it. And yeah, like I said, it'll be something that I will not forget for my time playing World of Warcraft. It was truly a good time. Yeah,
it was super awesome. One of the questions was how did the sub-train feel, but that's obviously a little subjective.
That was surreal, to be honest. Like for sure. Like when we were getting I had my stream chat open on another monitor, and I could just see the stream chat like almost like a machine gun. It was like moving so quick with a thing that was like 167,000 viewers in the stream, and then the chat moving from obviously chat messages to just all like walls of Twitch Prime subs and sub gifts and everything else. It was a crazy celebration on the stream for sure. Definitely very overwhelming. Yeah, like it's probably the most epic celebration that I've ever experienced, obviously, in my time playing WoW, and of course, being a streamer. It's not a sub train that I guess we will ever have again. It's probably going to be an all-time high. But yeah, it was definitely a pretty special moment.
That's awesome. Chris, what you got? You got anything you want to closing thoughts with, and how everything went with you guys?
What, MVP or just in general?
Or any questions from chat?
Let's see, chat. What do you got for me?
What
do you think about Josh leaving Method to join the role players? That's a great question. I think that Josh should follow his heart. Which Method Raider would win a 100-meter foot race? I mean, obviously me. Look at my incredible physique. Yeah, Kana the caster. I didn't actually get to see much of it myself, but I heard Kana did an amazing job. I mean, obviously when you're playing, we can really see it, but I think Kana probably deserves some props for his casting. I heard really good things about that.
Yeah, I agree on that point. Indeed, the casters definitely did a good job there. Kana, especially from the guild.
Yeah, it's a little sad actually that because we were playing all the time, we didn't really see what was going on the Method stream or other streams. Or like
actually, I mean, I did because it was in the same room, so I could hear. That's another thing actually. Playing in that room, I could hear everything they were saying because it was literally happening 5 meters away from my desk.
Yeah.
So I could hear what the commentators were saying, and especially like as they were starting to hype up around the kills and stuff. Like, yeah, I was definitely feeling that energy.
Huh.
I was also there when every now and then Gingy would die and he would like slam the table.
Well, we got a hats off to Naga for the Dungeon Tools add-on. Maybe even talked about that on the show. That's something you guys put together as well, which is, I suppose, I mean, I keep getting asked about it. I haven't used it yet, but awesome little tool that you guys haven't checked out yet.
The Method Dungeon Tools, from Mythic Plus.
Mythic Plus, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Naga spent an insane amount of time developing that add-on, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of people who have used it have praised it greatly. Should definitely help you plan out your Mythic Plus dungeons, and obviously the Mythic Plus is a huge part of the game now. So if you're interested in that, then make sure you check it out. The Method Dungeon tools, you can get it. There is a link to it on the Method website, and you can also support Nogger from that link.
What else you got, Raj? You wanna ending
the only-
closing thoughts?
Right. I want to shout out to Scribe and Deep Shades, my fellow marking buddies on G'huun, marking those bursting boils. Great times, trying to synergize between us. I don't know. Closing thoughts. I mean, I guess I don't know if you're aware, but I'm gonna probably be missing the next 2 progress raids. So
Oh gosh.
we might not see each other for a bit, but I'm going to BlizzCon first, so that will be a good ending for the year for me. And then hopefully I'll be back for the end of the expansion and find Method at the World Thirst, or get them there if they manage to drop down. Let's go.
I mean,
But,
I'm definitely very excited.
Uh-oh.
What?
Sure.
Sorry?
Your
Wait,
mic cut out there, yeah.
You cut out. Yeah.
My mic cut out, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just for
yeah.
a moment.
No, I was saying I'm definitely very excited for BlizzCon this year. It's going to be fun to hang out with Roger again. And
Yep.
Yeah. I think we first met in IRL back in like 2010.
Was it
We
10?
met. I think it was 2010. Was it?
I don't know. I
I
mean,
think it was 2010. We've met a few times since then, but I think it's been a while since we've had an IRL meet. So
yeah.
we will
Very true.
definitely have to take advantage of that.
So anyone going
Few
to at
tequila shots
BlizzCon?
on the cards, I think. Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to BlizzCon. Should be some good times, and I'm excited to see how the next progression will go with streaming and everything, and how
Yeah.
if it will grow and how much it will grow. It's actually really exciting times, and yeah, future looks quite nice for World of Warcraft in terms of rating, at least.
It definitely
So-
does. I think you should, based off the little chat comment there, there have been a couple of back and forth little wagers that happen in other esports games that go between like the top teams that like, if we win, then you have to do this, or, you know, if you win, I'll do this or whatever. Do you ever think you're going to do something like that with the other top guilds? Like the merch one is funny because that would be interesting to see if Limit takes it, all the Method guys have to wear Limit merch at like a event or on a stream or
I
something.
mean, I was so certain the Limit were going to get the kill on.
Yeah.
Wait, you're
Yeah,
cutting
when
out
I saw
again.
Limit merch
There it
okay, I'm
goes.
sorry, am I cutting out again? It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
on voice activation right now, so I'm not sure why it's cutting out.
Right.
The microphone
I
should be
think
right next to my mouth.
I think it might be Discord.
But what I'm saying is, I was so confident that Limit were going to kill the boss on Tuesday night when we stopped that I said that if they didn't, I would wear some Limit merch at some point during the BlizzCon trip. So
Yeah.
I will need to indeed get myself a Limit T-shirt.
Nice.
Apparently, I think they just came out with a new one recently that also includes the American flag on it. So that's going to be that'll probably be the one that I go for.
Oh, I like that. I'll have to get a selfie with you at that one at BlizzCon. That'll be good. I'll get it confirmed next week because I'm sitting down with the Limit guys. But is there anything else that anyone wants to shout or sign off with? Because I think we're good to go. Chris, are you set? Chat kept saying
I'm
you
good.
weren't talking enough, but I mean, you're just here to look good, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the, what do you call it? The, not muscle, but the, I can't think of the right word, but I'm there for the eyes. I'm a treat for all the senses.
Eye candy, dude.
Eye candy.
Yeah, eye candy, that's the word.
All right, then. Well, I'm going to hit this button that I haven't hit in a long time. And say, of course, thank you, everyone, to tuning into the show today. Of course, I said before, Limit is coming up next week. Next Sunday, we're having a Limit Spotlight interview about the World's Second and their decisions and how they feel about BFA, of course. And then we have most likely a Mythic Plus little junket with some of the big heavy hitters in the Mythic Plus scene. And then we'll have the pre-BlizzCon special, more details on that show soon. But going back around the corner here, we have Chris, the eye candy of the show today. You can go follow him on his Twitch channel. It's X ChrisPotter TV X.
I must say, I must say, by the way, that that X at the start of his name throws me off every single time. Like, I will often try and like tag Chris on something on Twitter, for example, and my natural instinct, of course, is to look for @C and expect his name to come up. But then I obviously have to put @X, and it's not, you know, Chris's name comes up alongside several other gestures.
All those other accounts you follow, yeah.
Need to get that turned into like Method Chris or something like that, or get the X's taken off of there.
Yeah, I think it's got to happen. I want to know who took ChrisPotter TV. I mean, who is that? I had to have the X's on, so.
Fair enough, sir. But thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having
on
me.
the show today. And there is Roger, a little bittersweet. I didn't know that until the very end of the show that he might not be able to back on depending on everything. So enjoy your service.
Yeah. Thank you, mate. I appreciate all the sentiments, but don't worry. You know, I'll still try to keep in touch, and we'll see. I mean, it depends a bit on the timing of the releases. I'm hoping at BlizzCon they will announce a few things of their time schedule with the raids. But yeah, it's great being back here, and hope everyone enjoyed the streaming of Progression. Looking forward to the next one, of course, and we'll see how it goes.
Always a pleasure, sir. And again, that's at RogerBrown on Twitch and Method Roger on Twitter. And there's Scott.
No X's. No X's.
No X's.
No X's.
And Sco is just Sco, SCO. He doesn't, you know, just drops off the T's. But thank you very much, sir. Again, always sporting the big forehead like me on the show today. I appreciate that.
Is that how you're ending this?
Yeah.
Is that how you chose to end the show? Well, all I can say is, guys, this is the last time I'm coming on the show. Nah, thanks for having us. Appreciate taking the time to chat about things with you. And yeah, until next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Everyone, chat, thank you very much for watching. I will see you all here next week with the Limit Show and more to come from there. See you on the social medias. And if you missed it, of course, this will be on YouTube. If you're on YouTube right now, hello. Hit that subscribe button. I didn't say it like every 5 minutes you're supposed to now. Oh, well, it happens. But until next week, everybody. Bye. 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 Oh, wait, I got to change the screen regions. There we go. There it is. Yeah. All right, cool. Good.